Welcome back to Milk and Honey Oracle. This is a full moon in Aries reading for my air signs. We have a full moon in Aries coming up on Thursday, October 17th. And this is just a little guidance for how to navigate that full moon. As always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. All right, let's dive in, air signs. First, we have adjustments are required. Third quarter moon. Have faith in your dream. Waxing crescent moon, and communication is key. New moon in Gemini. The first card that spoke to me was the have faith in your dreams. I get the sense that you are doubting a little bit that something is possible. And whether that is a new relationship, if that is truly moving on from a situation, whether or not you are confident in the growth that you've experienced, but I feel like you're having a moment of questioning where you are versus where you were, whether or not you're really growing, whether or not you're moving forward on your journey. And even though this is the middle card, I got to say, I feel like the adjustments are required are in relation to this one. I feel like they kind of all fold in on the have faith in your dreams. I think the adjustments are to your perception of really how far you've grown, how much you've accomplished, where you're at. I think that you're so much farther along than you give yourself credit for. And I think that's sort of where the communication is key comes in. Air signs, you might need to do a little bit of an exercise in writing down all of the things that you've accomplished, all of the things that are different about you now than were qualities that you had 6 months ago. Because sometimes as we're trudging along and checking off the items on our to-do list and, just living, we often don't stop to pat ourselves on the back. We often don't stop to give ourselves credit. And a lot of times life is moving so fast that we don't even realize that we've finished a cycle or we've healed an old wound or we've changed a limiting belief. And I think that you sort of need to communicate with your inner self, your higher self, that voice that tells you to waver. You need to communicate with that voice and show yourself in black and white just how far you've come. And in doing that, you need to then let go of, as part of this full moon, those doubts. Let go of the person who no longer exists because you've got 6 months of growth under your belt. That's what you need to focus on letting go during this full moon. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it is definitely going to be powerful. And I believe that full moons are all about releasing, letting go, giving forgiveness, to people, places, things, so that we can unburden ourselves and continue to move forward, right? You can't continue on a journey if you're carrying all of this weight with you. You won't be able to go that far. You won't be able to go that fast. And that's part of the reason why we have full moons, to stop, to reflect, to let go, to lighten our load so that we can continue to go further on the next leg of the journey. And that's where we are right now. So in validation of that, we have Pleiades, double mission, channeling, uplifting humanity. We have Priestess, how are you being called to step up and heal? And then we have Mirror, who or what is triggering you? The Mirror is the one that goes with you having doubts. Something happened that triggered you and you're starting to question everything right now. That trigger might have just been a mirror, right? It's a little bit of a test. We need to be able to see how far we've come to keep going. some people will say that the universe doesn't test you. I wholeheartedly believe that they do, because how else will you know how much you've learned, how many skills you've honed, how much you have amassed on your journey if you aren't tested? Tests are ways that we can gauge what we know. I wholeheartedly believe that the universe tests us. And I think that that's what that trigger is. And triggers are fine. You need to look at them, you need to examine them, and then you need to remind yourself, you need to step up for yourself, to lead yourself, to continue on your path, right? You can't live in that trigger. You can't let that trigger bring you down. You've got to keep going. And that's what you're meant to do here. You're meant to sort of stand up to yourself, remind yourself, show yourself how far you've come so that you can continue to lead yourself down the path. The Pleiades one, excuse me, this one I think sort of goes with your doubts. I think that sometimes air signs don't necessarily believe that they're special or they have a purpose in the spiritual sense of the word, right? I think that air signs absolutely bring balance. I think that they know who they are in a lot of ways, but I don't think that a lot of air signs give themselves the credit for being able to stand on their own 2 feet when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to the universe, when it comes to communication, when it comes to channeling, when it comes to hearing messages. And I think that this is a reminder that you absolutely have gifts. You absolutely are uplifting. Your presence alone is uplifting. And I think that you sort of need to remind yourself that. You need to see yourself as that priestess, right? Air signs, you bring that balance into the world. You bring fresh perspectives. You bring new ideas. You guys absolutely uplift humanity. And in validation, we have new moon in Aries. Go for it. Full moon in Capricorn, take a reality check. And new moon in Leo, shine. Once again, I don't think that they're in order. I think that this reality check is you making that list. You proving to yourself just how far you've come, how much you've learned. Look at the answers to that test that you're going to give yourself so that you can see in black and white that you've learned a hell of a lot and you need to just go for it and you need to shine. You can't linger in the triggers. You can't let the past bring you down. You are not that person anymore. You have come so far, air signs. You need to embrace it. You need to stand tall. You need to smile big. And you need to get your butt moving because you have work to do. You have work to do on yourself because you're in this healing journey, healing path. Don't let this one trigger hold you back. Let it go. Let it go during the full moon. Write it down. Burn it. It's a fiery full moon. Write down the things you're letting go. Read them out loud. Take them outside and set them on fire so that you let them go completely. Face your shadow. There we go. Make necessary sacrifices and imagine the solutions. Facing your shadow, that's telling that trigger it's got to go. You got to let that crap go. The necessary sacrifices is really, it sounds a lot deeper than it is, but what I'm getting is you have to stop wallowing, right? Like we're allowed to wallow for a minute, right? Because we have to. We got to feel the feelings. We got to say that we see them, and then we got to transmute them and let them go. That's what this is telling me. It's no true sacrifice, but a sacrifice in the sense of the word that maybe you want to wallow a little bit longer. We don't have time for that. The full moon's on Thursday. And imagine how much faster you're going to go on this next leg of the journey because you're letting What's holding you down, you're letting that trigger. And what's holding you down, you're letting it go for the full moon so that you can take off running. This has been a fantastic reading, air signs. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.